Today we're going to go over everything that you can do in SoD P4, but first go ahead and hit subscribe because this is going to be a long one. P4 is going to unlock level 60, so you're going to need to level up. My group is going to start with Nightmare Incursion dailies, which can be done up to level 53. You can knock out 16 quests in about 20 minutes. We did it with 4 people, and I think it's going to be one of the fastest ways to level up. Sunken Temple is now being turned into a level up raid, and I imagine it'll provide about 1 level of experience or something equivalent to that. After that, we'll be questing and doing our dungeons. Speaking of dungeons, there are lots of new dungeons that are going to unlock in Phase 4. You have access to BRD, LBRS, UBRS, Skolo, Strat UD, Dire Mall, and the new Ashenvale dungeon, which there will be an attunement quest line for, according to Wowhead. More details on that when someone discovers it. Also keep in mind, bosses over level 55 will drop TERs once a day, tarnished undermine reels, which can be exchanged at a vendor in Booty Bay for exciting rewards. 0.5 quest lines. Traditionally, the 0.5 quest lines have been some of the best gear that you can get prior to Molten Core opening, and I imagine a lot of players are going to be farming this. This quest line starts as early as level 58 by turning in a pair of your tier 0 bracers into your faction's major city. You have to first acquire the tier 0 piece that can be upgraded, and then you'll need to acquire all of these pieces from dungeons. I'll put a link to the tier 0.5 guide in the description below. Reputation. The primary reputations you're going to want to be farming in Phase 4 are Hydraxian Waterlord, Timber Maw, Argent Dawn, and PvP reps. All of these reps will have some Preis items for your class, and the Thorium Brotherhood has some really good fire resist items that you'll probably need in order to kill Molten Core on heat level 3. The Argent Dawn and Timber Maw faction quartermaster vendors allow players to exchange the base version of a crafted reputation item that they previously offered, along with some other appropriate materials for high level quality versions of the same items. They also change all of the items from these vendors to BOP, so you'll actually have to earn them yourself instead of buying them off the auction house. Arathi Basin Exalted will have many people's Preis weapons, and WSG will have the bracers. Attunements. Of course, you'll have to knock out your Molten Core and Onyxia attunement quest lines, as well as the Ashenvale one whenever it's discovered. I'll put a link to these attunements in the description below, and remember that the Onyxia one is different for Alliance and Horde. Raids. Sunken Temple still holds several previous items for many classes, and it's great for leveling up, so I highly recommend doing that twice a week. World bosses are now instanced, and Azurgos and Kazakh will be available on July 18th. These 2 raids will reset twice per week on Tuesdays and Saturdays. Oni will become available on July 25th. This will also reset twice per week on Tuesday and Saturday, and then Molten Core becomes available on July 25th as well, and this raid will reset once per week on Tuesdays. The most exciting thing by far about P4 for me is the Molten Core heat levels. Heat levels will represent difficulty, and before you zone in, you'll be able to decide which difficulty you'd like to complete Molten Core on. I have a feeling that this is going to be a fire resist mechanic or added mechanics to each boss, so you will need a lot of fire resist in order to complete it. There's also a confirmed 11th boss that's been added to Molten Core, so we'll just have to see what happens with that. Preis. There are over 500 updated and new items in Season of Discovery Phase 4. Preis is one of the most exciting times to play World of Warcraft, and I honestly have no idea where all of my previous items are going to come from. And so in order to do that, I'm going to use 60 upgrades to help me figure out the best route to prepare myself a BIS list so that I can go into Molten Core and the world bosses with the best gear, and I can do the highest amount of DPS. PvP. The Blackrock PvP event will occur every 2 hours, and players will gain access to a number of daily quests which will reward you with Thorium Brotherhood and Hydraxian Waterlord rep. I have a feeling that this is going to be the best way to farm Hydraxian Waterlord rep before Molten Core opens. And you're going to want to make sure you have a douse so that you can put out the flame so you can summon Ragnaros at the end. Rank 10 looks to be very competitive, and it offers a very strong 2-set bonus, which I imagine some players will be looking to mix in with their 0.5 questline sets. I think that both of these 2-set bonuses will stack, and that would give people an additional like 40 or 50 spell power just from having 2 pieces of each of the set. Professions in Phase 1 through 3 granted some of the best in slot items in Season of Discovery. There will most likely be another quest chain that we have to do in order to unlock these patterns, so be on the lookout for these guides when someone discovers it. Mounts. Epic mounts are now available in-game at level 60. You can also upgrade your STV mount to the Epic version for 800G at the STV vendor, and if you have a Nomergon mount, you can upgrade that one as well for 800G inside of Nomergon. Let's not forget about the extremely rare Baron mount that you can farm from Strat Undead. Runes. Be on the lookout for the cloak and ring rune guides that'll be popping up when somebody discovers them. The ring slots will give you weapon skill, and the cloaks will give you 3 to 4 new abilities for your class. Gold. Level 60 in Classic WoW is the literal gold rush. The first person to get a Lionheart Helm recipe, the Flask of the Titan recipe. The level 60 gold rush is something that makes WoW extremely exciting, and whoever gets the patterns first can make a lot of money in the first few days. Other than that, don't forget that World of Warcraft is meant to have fun. Sometimes over min-maxing the game can ruin your experience and your immersion, and I encourage you to go out into the world and just enjoy it. If you enjoyed this video about all the things you can do in Phase 4, please hit subscribe and check me out on twitch.tv/SirDocko. I'll see you next time.